Well, good morning, everybody. Or if you're in Europe, good afternoon. If you're in Asia or Australia, I don't know what time it is there, but hello. Welcome to my 5-year booktube birthday, or is it anniversary? I'm not really sure what to call it. As of yesterday, I think January 2nd, 2021, I uploaded my first video. So I'll talk about that a little bit. I have a top 10 plan today as well, something a little bit different, but I thought I was going to be late. I've had one of those mornings where, like everything except for my run was really good this morning, but everything else this morning's taken twice as long. And all of a sudden, I looked up; it was 9:55. I'm like, oh, I got to make my coffee and get started. So, anyway, welcome everybody. If you're here, say hello in the chat. I'm glad to see you here this morning for this celebration again. I don't know whether it's a birthday or an anniversary. Oh, I'm dressed down, Brian. But thanks, my friend. Hey, Ian. Good to see you. Look forward to reading Century Trilogy with you later this year. Afternoon and anniversary. So cool. Thank you, sir. Oh, look who is here. Oh, I miss you too, Theo. Come on back anytime. Be good to see you. Francois is here, so thank you for the congratulations. I got my coffee here in time for my NFL fans. I hope that I have more than just one more day to be drinking coffee out of my Steelers mug in season, because if we lose tomorrow, we're kind of out of it. But anyway, I figure I would just start and talk about something that we were talking about on the fireside just yesterday. Joanna posted a question of the day, and it was kind of two questions for different people. The first question was, if you're not a booktuber, YouTuber, or whatever, have you ever considered starting a channel? And if you haven't started, why not? That kind of thing. And then the other half of it was for those of us that have started channels, why are we here? So I figure I'd give you my kind of origin story about the channel and why it's still here, because I'll be honest, I had no expectations or even thoughts that it would be 5 years old. I thought I would probably do it for about 6 to 8 months and then I'd be done. And then here we are. So let me take a sip and then we'll get going with that kind of story. So I was not a big YouTube consumer until March of 2020. We all know what happened then. And then I started watching YouTube, which was, a lot of fun, discovering for the first time people talking about a lot of the books that I like to read. I'm lucky in my life. I've had a lot of friends that are readers, but a lot of times we don't read the same books, except for one book club I was in when I lived in Dallas. That was the only time that it seemed like I was aligning with people who were reading things the same time. So being just a consumer of YouTube was a lot of fun, and just getting to do read-alongs on different channels and watching a lot of reviews and watching a lot of deep dives and learning about a lot of authors, I really got into it. Well, what was happening at the time, of course, March 2020, the world kind of shut down. My job, I'm a music educator. I'm an orchestra conductor, and I love my job. And I found my job was basically no longer there. I mean, I was still employed. I was still getting a paycheck. But from March until basically June of that year, I was teaching online music, and it was not even synchronous. It was asynchronous, where I had to upload a lesson and students sent me things. It was horrible. And then when fall came around, we were back to kind of a hybrid model where students could opt into coming to school that year, or they could learn online. And well, my orchestra program, which at the time had, I think, 206 students, I had 6 students live. So I was basically still teaching online, and it was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. So I had a big void, a creative void in my life that honestly needed filled in some manner. And I'd been watching a lot of YouTube, and, I saw a lot of channels where it seemed like, there's certain channels that I would see and be like, yeah, I can't do that. I'm not that kind of person. But I saw a lot of channels, a lot like what my channel's become, where it's just very conversational, where someone would turn on a camera and they would just kind of talk about the books. And it was just kind of something I thought, well, maybe I can do it. So I pulled the plug finally in January. But it was one of those, I made the decision kind of September, and it took about 4 months before I actually did a video. And like most most of us are, my first few videos are just unwatchable. It's horrible, but that's kind of how it started. But my plan was, just because I needed to be creative, I wanted to do this until I was back to my regular job, which was a school year later. So that was August. So that was about 8 months into this. And I just kept going. So here we are. I never thought it would really last this long, to be honest. I thought that it would be something that I wanted to be able, I did actively want to be able to show to people, or even to just myself, like, hey, I did something during lockdown besides, put on the COVID-19 pounds and learn how to make a really good Manhattan. Besides those, I wanted something tangible to be able to show, like, hey, here's something creative I did during lockdown. And I did that, but it's kept going. But anyway, I have really enjoyed the ride. I've enjoyed it. And that's part of what, when I get to my top 10 list, is kind of part of my kind of personal booktube journey as far as what it's been. So let me get caught up on some comments here. But yeah, this is, yeah, click. There we go. Mouse wasn't working. Yeah, Ian, that's going to be great. And I'm glad we're spreading it out, because those are some chunkers. So looks like Valdemar's reading us as well. That's very cool. Good morning, John. Hey, Chris Navo's here. Happy New Year to you as well. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Appreciate it. Hey, Derry's here. It's 5 a.m. Sunday morning. You are awesome. Hope you're having a cup of tea or something there. Or definitely go back to sleep and watch it on Team Replay, but glad you're here. Here's the next 5. Very cool. Hey, thanks for coming by. I know, like, most people that watch booktube channels don't really comment, so I appreciate you just checking out what I do. Hello, Heidi. Good to see you as always. Glad that booktube helps you get through the day. I know mine do as well. I put it on just about every day in the morning when I'm like getting my lunch together and everything. I try to pop a video together, and like when I'm eating breakfast, that kind of thing too. So I'm as much of a consumer as anybody. I watched a couple good ones this morning. Watched Brian's latest video, his TBR video, and I watched I was on a collab with a few others when Shelf Esteem's channel, Nick Hill, had everybody picking their favorite their most anticipated reads for next year. So that was kind of fun to do, and to see what everybody's choices are. And I told him in the comments, I thanked him for asking Daniel Green, so we can all say we've all been in a video with Daniel Green now. So Joanna was on that video. Oh, and it's happy anniversary or birthday or whatever this is to you as well. And she's having a live stream later, so we'll all have to hop onto that on her channel. We started our channels basically the same time, and it's so cool that we're both part of Fireside Discord and part of this community. So Ryan, oh, very, very cool. Oh, I've recommended 5 of your 10 favorite books. That's so cool. That's awesome. Thanks for letting me know that. So Ian, glad to stuck with the channel. Yeah, I agree. That's one of the cool things I think about YouTube as well. I mean, there's a lot of channels that I still watch where I don't necessarily have the same tastes as the person does a channel, but I like their content. But when you find someone who's enjoying the same things as you, that's definitely that's definitely something that makes it great. Yeah, I loved the 3 Donna Tartts I read. Yeah, The Little Friend was rough, but I love The Goldfinch and I love The Secret History. So Happy New Year, Sarah Beth, and everybody else. So I promised a top 10 list. So I just kind of jotted this down. This was kind of a spur of the moment when I made the thumbnail. And along the way, if you have any questions you want to ask me about booktube or what I'm reading or anything like that, feel free to throw those in the chat as well. So the top 10 list I came up with is a top 10 reflecting upon the last 5 years. These are things that I've loved about kind of this booktube journey. Some of these are like related to me having a channel. Some of these are some authors or books or book series that I've read along the way. So here we go. And I need to consult some notes for this one. So number 10 of favorite thing about having a channel the last 5 years is actually finding an audience. I think I have a note in my phone about how slow the channel really grew. So if you're a small booktuber, I guarantee you're growing faster than me. So I started January of 2021. 6 months in, I only had a little over 500. No, sorry, that's a year and 6 months. I still only had 500 subscribers. My first year in, I was just north of 200 subscribers. I didn't hit 1,000 subscribers, which is when I felt like, oh, I've made it. I'm done. I thought that's where it would peak. I hit 1,000 subscribers a year and 8 months into kind of the booktube thing. So that's kind of my number 10. That's just finding an audience and, uploading a video now. I mean, most of my videos I get about, I don't know, about 1,000 views, I think. And I get dozens upon comments, which are my favorite part of it all. So just seeing that I actually have people watching the videos, because I remember early on where if I got 100 people to watch a video, it was like such a big deal. So if you are a small booktuber, maybe use that as a little bit of solace, because my channel, I don't know what I am, 12,000? Have I hit 13? I think I've hit 13. Yeah, I think I'm at 13,000 subs, something like that. It started really, really slow. I guarantee just about every other booktuber, probably grew faster than I did, especially in those early days. So that's kind of my number 10 thing I've enjoyed about being a booktuber. So number 9, an author that I discovered that I love that I would have known except for booktube, and that's I have really enjoyed the works of Joe Abercrombie. And this is one of those again where just the recommendations, and when you see people who have tastes like your own, in this case, I think probably Mike was the driving force behind me reading those, because Mike was talking about Stephen King a lot, who had been my favorite author for a very long time. As well as I started reading The Wheel of Time, and Mike's channel popped up, was actually one of the first booktube channels I discovered. So he had been talking about Joe Abercrombie quite a bit. So that became just an author that I've loved, and I've read everything by him except for The Devils, because I'm just waiting on that. I won't read that until I'm going to wait till all 3 books are out and then just kind of read those. Although I did buy it just to support the author. Although I don't know if he needs my support. I think he was #1 New York Times bestseller. Anyway, that's number 9. Number 8, one of my favorite things about having a channel the last 5 years is being able to talk to authors. I've had so many really great chats with authors on the channel. I've talked with Philip Chase several times. P.L. Stewart's been on the channel. Tori Tekken had a great talk with A.R. Witham a couple times on both of our channels. I had the 3-headed J.A.J. Minton on the channel earlier this year. It's one of my favorite things. One of my favorite things in general is craft. And that's because I'm a lifelong musician. I've always just loved master classes and things like that, and learned how musicians do what they do, how they work on things, how they break things apart, how they get better. Love that aspect of it. And same thing with authors. I love hearing what it is. I love asking the question if they're a gardener or an architect and finding out how they do it. Loving hearing how they structure their day. And I've always felt the same about not just artists, but even athletes. I was a competitive runner for a time, and just learning about different training methods and things like that, I was always fascinated by it. So that's something that I've really loved about the last 5 years, is being able to have a channel and being able to have authors on the channel, talk to them, hear about their craft and their creative process. It's something I never tire of talking about and talking to people about. All right, so that was number 8. Let me catch up on chat a little bit. Hey, thanks for stopping in. Appreciate the congratulations. And yes. Yeah, Nick Hill's awesome. He's got a great channel. He's also a musician like me. He's a composer and written some really important things like Wheel of Time and everything. Bleak House, almost. Heidi, I have one more before Bleak House. Bleak House will be 2027. 2026, I have Dombey and Son is up. I'm reading the rest of my Dickens in publication order. But like you, Heidi, I've heard a lot of people say that this is the best of Dickens. So I really look forward to reading that one. Just Dombey and Son's up next. Thank you, Nasser. Appreciate it. Best Northman name. Is there a red something in the there is there is a red something in the heroes. I could be a character. See if he'll see if Joe will write me in there. Thank you, Dalvor. Appreciate it. All right, couple questions from Heidi. Biggest hidden gem recommend. The one I always pick is Forever by Pete Hamill. That's a really good just book that nobody talks about. Thankfully, I've talked about it enough on here that I've had some people go read it. Pete Hamill was not a fantasy writer, but it's a fantasy story. And what it is it's a story about New York City because Pete Hamill was a New York City historian. But the way he tells the story, it's an Irishman or a Scotsman, I forget, where what they do is he's like 14th century born, and he finds the keys to immortality, but he has to stay on the island of Manhattan. So this book is all about New York City growing up around him, and it's fascinating. It's magical. I love it. I've seen a few people read it based on my recommendation, and I love that. Pete Hamill's a great author. He's I think that's his only work of fiction. He has another book called Why Sinatra Matters, which I really love, and it's a very slim kind of biography of Frank Sinatra, but more about his cultural importance, especially for Italian Americans. I really enjoyed that book. And then I haven't read it yet, but he has a memoir called A Drinking Life, I think is what it's called, something like that. So I hope to read that one as well. But my biggest hidden gem is definitely still Forever by Pete Hamill. Definitely a big one. Garden Gnome's great. In fact, the sequel, The M Word, is going to be a finalist on my Red Fury Book Awards. Stay tuned for that. That's going to happen in about 3 weeks. That's Jeff McIntyre's Theory of Magic series. And the second book made my finals for favorite self-pub work I read this year. All right, let me continue to get caught up in the chat. Hey, Kevin's here. Thank you, sir. Love the brunch segments. Yeah, I'll try to be a little bit more regular. I mean, I'm considering this one a brunch and books. It's just me. I was trying to figure out, and I put up the poll on the thing, the what is it? The community post, I guess is what it's called on YouTube, to ask the audience what you guys wanted, whether you wanted a big cast, small cast, and I just opted for this mainly because I got a little bit behind and it was like pretty late to invite people. And I just said, I'm just going to go solo. I had to do a bunch of invitations this morning for the Red Fury Books Awards anyway, and I didn't want to like bother people twice this week. So anyway, yeah, I'll hope to get back to brunch and books. But hey, this is brunch and books. I'm sipping some coffee. I didn't make the French press, so it's just going to be one cup for me today, plus the one I already had earlier. So I'll get caught up in the chat and continue the top 10. Congrats on 5 years. Yay, I got someone on Guy Gabriel K. I'm so happy about that. He may factor into my top 10 that I'm slowly counting down, and really, really excited to talk about K at any time. And I love that. I love that people found him through me, because I found him through Bridger and Jake Bishop, Library Ladder and Jake Bishop. They're the biggest reasons why I read Guy Gabriel K, so that I can continue to spread the gospel of K. I'm really happy. So as a newer subscriber, I'm curious about the channel name. What does it mean? Great question. So it's not a play on Christine from Stephen King, which is a great guess. But so I mentioned earlier in the stream here, I used to be a competitive distance runner. And I was in a race one time, and I was kind of the old guy in a pack of like really fast high school kids. And I dropped them all in the last mile. And a friend of mine he coined me the Red Fury at that point, because I tended to have a pretty furious kick at the end of races. And it just kind of stuck. So I like the name, the Red Fury. It was kind of a good name for running. And then when I was coming up with a channel name, I didn't want to use my name. I wanted to do something just a little bit different, and I just kind of wanted to go with it. So Red Fury Books it is. Thank you, Jared. Appreciate it. Thank you, Noah. Good morning, Michael. Yay, someone who read forever. Loved it. Want to visit New York City now. Good, good. I love paying it forward. Glad that your friend enjoyed Forever as well. Oh, and Scott, you're in my watch later queue. I'm so happy to see you back making videos again. We've missed you here. Hope to talk some Hob or whatever with you at some point soon. But yeah, it's good to see Scott the Bald Booktuber is back to making videos again. Let's see from Heidi. Have you thought about reading Keith Richards' autobiography, Life? I haven't. I'll write it down. I have a bunch of. I do like musician biographies. Some of them are kind of outrageous, and then some of them are just really inspiring. I mean, Heidi, you had recommended the Joe Jackson one, which was a really good memoir. Um, I haven't read this one, but I've enjoyed some of those recently. I read last year. I read Elton John's biography was really good. Autobiography, I should say, because he wrote that one. But I do enjoy that kind of thing because, again, like I mentioned earlier, I love just the craft of musicians and, rock musicians. In addition to the craft, they usually just have some crazy experiences that are fun to read about. So, all right. Thank you. Thank you. All right. So where was I on my top 10? Let's see. I did that. If you just popped in, I'm doing a top 10 of my kind of favorite things I've discovered in the last 5 years about having a BookTube channel. Some of them are channel related. Some of them are just some great things that I've read. And that's what's next. Number 7, I read Shogun in the last 5 years, and it became I think it was in my top 10 books of all time. It was a book that I always wanted to read. And I got on it just before kind of the YouTube hype, which was kind of good because it still remains my most watched single book review because I think I was just ahead of the curve. I got there before a lot of my fellow booktubers read it by about 6 months. And I got there about a year before or 2 years before the miniseries came out. So that video, I honestly don't know if it's any good. It's like for my second year or third year in the channel, but it has like 10,000 views, which if you know anything about YouTube, nobody watches single book reviews. So the fact that that one is in my top, probably, I don't know. I'm not a good analytics person. I would say it's probably maybe not a top 10 viewed video on the channel, but definitely a top 20. So, yeah, so reading Shogun is a top experience of the last 5 years. Number 7, something that I don't think I would have experienced without having a BookTube channel is discovering self-published authors. And that's been a lot of fun. And not only reading self-published authors, but interacting with them and again talking about craft, but also I served as an alpha reader for one, and I was flattered for that to be asked to do that, and that was a really really neat experience for me just as a reader, because I don't have training in this or anything like this, but I do read a lot and I am well read, and hopefully my opinions are often something that the people would value, but that an author would have some trust in me was very cool to say the least. But I've enjoyed self-pub. It became I think my second Red Fury Book Awards. That might have been when I introduced that as a category on the Furies, and I just reached out to some people to present for the Red Fury Book Awards in a few weeks. So stay tuned on that because that's going to be upcoming. Unlike a lot of BookTube channels, I haven't done my end of the year wrap up stuff yet. I have 2 videos planned. I'm going to do, next week I'm doing my December short reviews. The week after that will be one of 2 kind of 2025 wrap up content. 2 weeks from now, it's going to be a video where I basically give you my new favorites and my biggest disappointments that I read in 2025. And then the big one, the Red Fury Book Awards, where I don the tuxedo. I'm expanding it this year. I'm excited for that. Last year, I had 3 guests. This year, I took a cue from, I'm proud to say that I think the Furies are the second best BookTube award show on BookTube, but the best are the Tubies, StoryTube. And one thing I loved about what Carlos and Yolanda did is they actually had a presenter for every category. So I said, I want to do that too. So I have presenters for every category so that they can present the nominees and the winner. And then I can just kind of talk about you know, why I awarded the winners, that kind of thing. So that's going to be a lot of fun. Yeah, that's going to be in 3 weeks. So I'll finally be wrapping up 2025 at that point. Oh, Scott, count me in for the 12 months discussion. I'm definitely excited for that. That will be a day one read for me. I still, even though I've had the channel for a while and I could probably get advanced reading copies for some books, I think I haven't even tried. So I don't know if I could have read this one early or not, but I'm going to read it on release day with everybody else. So, hey, that would be a good one. A Manhattan Forever walking tour. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year all. Thank you. Thank you for stopping in and commenting. All right, back to my top 10. These are the things that I've enjoyed a lot about having a BookTube channel the last 5 years. So number 5, I discovered my favorite science fiction series in the last 5 years, and that's the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons. I kind of assumed when I got into this that it may be a favorite, but you never assume that something's going to be the favorite. And I can say, I'm done to the top 5. In the last 5 years, I have a new favorite sci-fi series. I have a new favorite book series, and I have a new favorite author. I mean, those are all 3 things that have happened as a result of being a booktuber and being a booktube consumer and all of that. But Hyperion is one that I just really loved it from the start. I love the diversity of all 4 books. I mean, all 4 books are very different. The first one's very literary. The second one is probably more of a hard sci-fi. The third one's an adventure tale. The fourth one is really the most philosophical of them all. And I thought it went really, really well. I know a lot of people don't like the 2 Endymion books, but I really did. So number 5 is Hyperion. Number 4. So number 4, this is an odd one. With the exception of maybe 2 things, I never reread anything in my life. I don't know why. Maybe I thought of reading too much as a consumer where I had to get the new thing and read the new thing. But I think BookTube in many ways made me want to reread things. When I would hear someone talk about a book that I hadn't read in 20 years, I would say, man, I don't remember all those cool things. I want to reread it. Or even just being able to pick up my favorites again. The only thing I've consistently reread my whole life is The Lord of the Rings. And I've read it 4 times, and I've read The Hobbit 5 times. But the Lord of the Rings is the only thing that I've just continually picked up my whole life. So I've really enjoyed just seeing that. I don't know if YouTube gave me permission to do this or just hearing more people talk about it. I've reread quite a bit. I'm in the middle of rereading a bunch of things. I'm rereading all of the Dark Tower adjacent books, Stephen King, not the series, but everything around it. Additionally, I'm currently rereading Stephen King short fiction, and I'm doing kind of a multi-year project on that and doing overview reviews. So I'm enjoying doing that. And then this year I'm adding another reread project. I'm going to reread all of Michael Connelly's novels. Now that I own all of them in hardback, I kind of want to read those again because I read them kind of haphazard. So I'm going to read them in publication order. So in many ways, I think YouTube just reinforced that great books should be reread. And I have a few more planned this year that I look forward to rereading. I'm going to be rereading Cloud Atlas and talking to Joanna about that one. I'm going to reread 11/22/63, my favorite Stephen King book. I mean, and who knows, there may be more than that as well. All right, let me take a sip and see where we are with the chat. See, Ian, my perspective of Dresden is different because I didn't wait 5 years like a lot of people. I waited less than 5 months because I started 3 years ago with Dresden, and I almost jumped off twice. So I have a couple breaks in the middle there. I almost quit after the first book, actually 3 times. I almost quit after the first book. I almost quit after the second book, and I almost quit after whatever Proven Guilty was, 8, 9, somewhere in there. But anyway, yeah, so I haven't had to wait all this time like a lot of people. So yeah, I'm definitely in the just as excited as everybody else, even if I haven't had to wait quite as long. Thank you. Yeah, Scott as well. Yeah, I'm gonna read mine on my Kindle. I think I haven't collected the Dresden books, and I don't want to start because then all of a sudden I have to buy 19 books. So, hey, Carlos and Yolanda are here. Awesome, very very cool. Oh, we'll let you know about Cloud Atlas for sure. Um, it's a it's a great one, and Joanna hasn't read it, and it'll be a reread for me. So Michael's going to read Stand By Me. I reread the Different Seasons collection last year, and definitely one of my best rereads of the year. I mean, all four of those are really, really great. Um, in fact, the Breathing Method might be the most underrated of them all, but really strong collection. So, all right, caught up on the comments. I'm down to my top three. These are the 10 things that I've enjoyed most about having a YouTube channel. Number three is discovering my new favorite book series, and that's Realm of the Elderlings by Robin Hobb. And that was a great thing that I read over the span of about 2 years. So I didn't really binge it. I kind of binged each series, took a little break, binged each series. If you don't know Realm of the Elderlings, it's 5 interconnected series. The first, third, and fifth series is a first-person narration of a single character, and then second and fourth series fill in a lot of the world. And it's one of the just greatest kind of literary journeys I've ever taken. So I really, really enjoyed that. I'm so happy to have discovered it. And again, this is once again, I was influenced by hearing people talk about books. And I think that's one of the cool things about being a consumer of this platform is when you start to find, the people whose recommendations you value, or you just are able to get a sense of something based on the way they talk about the books. I think a lot of times you can find something that works for you. Like there are several books out there that are very famous that I hear people talk about that have yet to say, I really want to pick that up. But Hobb was one that early on, I really wanted to pick her up. And I'm so glad I did. I mean, she is one of the most skilled authors that I've ever read. Not just the series, but just like line by line writing. She's just so good. So that's number 3. What do we got here? Yeah, I pushed through. I mean, yeah, it's a great series, and it's up and down. And I think, what did I do? I did something. Oh, I did a tier ranking of Dresden, and for my kind of summation of it is it's a series that is up and down, but it keeps going up basically, and its highs outweigh the lows. I mean, there's certain aspects of the series that are not great, but like the Harry's Male Gaze, I don't like that at all. But overall, I think it's a great book series, and I'm glad I didn't jump off, especially early on when I think Butcher was just still figuring out how to write them. So, oh, very cool. I am listening to A Song for Arbonne right now as a reread, and I'm actually going to reread it next month as well with my eyes. I'm just loving it. I think it was when I counted down my favorite books, I think A Song for Arbonne was number 4, and I think that might have been too low. I just adore that book. I feel like in so many ways that book was written for me. But I hope that you enjoy both of those, Song for Arbonne and Lines of Al-Raslan. I think they're both fantastic. I do feel that Guy Gabriel Kay is in many ways the most underrated author out there. And people say he's not underrated. Well, on our corner of BookTube, we talk about him a lot, but I was at 2 bookstores yesterday and I didn't see a single book by Guy Gabriel Kay. And I saw a lot of, frankly, lesser names all over the place. So I do feel that he is underrated. So hope that you enjoy both of those. Yes, Realm of the Elderlings is the best. Heidi, I think what I'm going to do, I didn't do it last year. I might start second quarter with this. I may do take nominations in the community post to nominate books for the TBR, because I do see how like John does that at Talking Story. I think Brian does that at BellTube as well. So I think I'm going to introduce that back in, or maybe even I did 2 years ago, I was doing polls with my physical TBR, like, hey, which one of these standalone should I read? So I may do some of that as well. But yeah, on those lists, Bjornman's a definite. I'm not sure which Cook that is. Is that Glenn Cook? He would be one that I wouldn't read until after Steven Erikson when I'm done with Malazan. John Gwynn, of course, I have to read. I just haven't gotten to him. Mervyn Peake, Tanith Lee. Yeah, Joanne has been raving about Tanith Lee, so I definitely want to read her as well. And of course, Scott is also a fellow Hobb fan. Oh, that's great. Started in August, first 9. Yeah, it's really easy to binge those. I would try to be as disciplined as I could, but yeah, so Rain Wild's up next for you, and then Fits in the Fool. So I will continue a question on the screen here. I will continue The Last King of Ostenard, just not soon. Memory, Sorrow, and Thorn. The mixed feelings was really the second book. I thought the second book was just, honestly, I thought it was a dog. I thought it was like twice as long as it needed to be. But the third book redeemed itself despite it being like one of the longest fantasy books ever. So I have very fond feelings of the series, and I actually think about the series a lot. I think of some of the scenes in the series because I immediately, even when I wasn't loving like the second book, I liked Williams' writing. And I had been told, you know, if you're a fan of Hobb, you're probably going to like Tad Williams. So I will continue Last King of Ostenard. It's not going to be in any time soon, though. I have a pretty big physical TBR at the moment. And what I've found is that I don't want to get too many epic fantasy series going at the same time. So right now, the only epic fantasy series I have going is Realm of the Elderlings. Sorry, Realm of the Elderlings. No, I saw that in the chat. I saw that. I want to reread that. No, I have Malazan Book of the Fallen is the only one I have going right now, and I'm reading Reaper's Gale as we speak. So I will continue. Probably not in 2026, but maybe after that. I consider doing something ancillary to books like top sci-fi shows, movies. I have, especially like sci-fi shows. I would say my favorite genre to read is fantasy, but my favorite genre to watch is science fiction. So I don't know, perhaps. I guess anytime I can have an excuse to talk about Firefly, maybe I should make a video for it because that's for me the best. Yes, Heidi, I'll definitely be in. Yeah, Philip is reading all of GGK this year. I'm definitely going to be in the Song for Our Bond chats. I don't know if I'll be in any of the ones after that, but yeah, I'm really excited for that. And I really enjoyed his chat with Evan. I forget Evan's channel name, and I shouldn't because he's like huge. He's got like 1 million followers or something. But he had a Nerd Writer, maybe. Something like that. Anyway, if you know what it is, put it in the chat. I enjoyed their chat because it was just so detailed and so in depth, and that's what I love about K is you can go really, really deep into that. So yeah, so I'll at least be on Song for Our Bond. Oh, that's so cool. That that's like my prime motivation for going to a con would be to meet Hobb or K. But it's one of those, like, you don't know until they announce. And by the time they announce somebody's going, it's like too late to book a trip, that kind of thing. But I would have loved to been to Dragonsteel and met Robin Hobb, like I saw Jake and Kyle and some others did. So, Ian's going to read Cloud Atlas as well. Big fan of that. Thank you for the congratulations. Oh, very cool. Lonesome Dove. That was one of my best books from 2 years ago or 3 years ago, 2 or 3 years ago. It's been pretty recent, and I'm hoping to continue the series. Maybe this year. We'll see. We'll see if I end up picking those up. So Giannis asking, have I read The Proving Ground by Michael Connolly? I did. It's Connolly. Connolly does not miss, frankly. The way I describe Michael Connolly is that his ceiling's not as high as some authors, but his floor is higher than everybody. Like, the worst he can do is write a 6 out of 10. He may not reach the heights of some others, but like his worst book is still like very good. Proving Ground, my biggest disappointment with it was that it was advertised as Lincoln Lawyer plus Jack McAvoy. And the 3 Jack McAvoy books of Connolly's are my favorites. the poet, the scarecrow, and I just forgot the third one. But those are my favorites, and maybe the most consistently good of even this great consistent author. But McAvoy was barely in this book, and not only was he just barely in the book, he was also just it didn't need to be him. He was like one of those secondary characters that it could have just been unnamed character, blah, 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 and it would have been fine. So that was a bit disappointing for me, and I think tempered my enjoyment of it, but it's still, I mean, it's still Connolly. It's still like, I think I gave it a 4 out of 5. So pretty great. All right. Oh, starting your Hob journey. Very, very cool. Hope you love her work as much as I have. Wish you try Black Company before Malazan. Love Malazan, found Black Company very underwhelming. I've heard I heard it's not consistent. I don't know if that's what you found with that, Rogue, there. But I do want to read it because I've learned through Malazan that I think I can enjoy military fantasy when it's done well. So and Glenn Cook seems to be just a highly influential author. So I definitely want to read more. All right, Ian, you feel the Bosch novels need to be read in order? Concrete Blonde. Book buying ban for the year. You're brave having a book buying ban for the year. The Bosch novels do not need to be read in order. In fact, I read the first 4 or 5 books of his crazy out of order. And then I went chronologically. Now, there are aspects of his books that, like his life, that changes through the years because this is set over decades. So let me just give you, like Ian and everybody else, an example of this. Like if you think of the crime procedurals that you watch on television, you can pop into season 12 of Law and Order and watch an episode and it's going to be fine. Now, there may be an aspect of a character who's been there for years that you don't know about or you just learned about that you would have learned earlier in a book, but it doesn't really ruin that episode. I think same thing with these novels. Like you'll see relationships he's in, you'll see different partners and things like that. You'll also see, his daughter who grows up through the series. I mean, there's a lot that goes through there, but you don't necessarily have to read those in order, Ian. Steve's reading Lonesome Dove in January, February. Well, you see, that's one to read if you've only read one Western. Yeah, that's what I was told as well, and it made me want to read more Westerns. Yeah, it's really, really good. Yeah, I usually we do the Discord on for the book club, but when I do stuff specifically for the channel, I'll either put it on both or I'll put it on the channel because frankly, there's just more people on the channel. I mean, I have 12,000 subscribers, maybe 13. I mean, that's a bigger sample size than I think Fireside's about 500 people. So you don't need to feel neglected. Professional Bookworms can't wait for. Oh yeah, I can't wait for him to read Sarantine Mosaic. Absolutely, gonna love it. Yeah. So Hob came to Phoenix 2 years ago. Yeah, that's so awesome. Hopefully, I meet her someday. Really enjoyed. I think each of the live ship books get better. I think the first one, I wouldn't call it a slog though. So, I mean, that's maybe a little bit of a red flag. It's interesting because a lot of people have the opposite opinion with the Hob books where they love live ship and the third person bouncing around POVs, and then they don't like the first person being in Fitz's head. So that's interesting. I don't recommend it, but I do have a real life friend who read just the 9 Fitz books and didn't read the others. You miss some things, but you can still enjoy it that way if you do find yourself bouncing from live ship. Oh yeah, Brian, you got a crazy month. You got Magician, you got Crippled God, and like 3 other things. So yeah, we'll definitely have to read something together. I'm so glad that you got I don't know if that was you or Mike or whoever got the Quilluminati to read Rift War but that's great. I think we're at the same place of that, so that might be an idea. Because I've read, I'm sorry, I'm looking at my shelf. 16, I think. 4, 6, no, 4, 7, 9, 13. It looks like I've read 17 of them. I'm going to be starting Legends of the Rift War soon, for sure. So, I haven't read the Elvis Cole books. I read something by that author a while back, but it's been quite a long time. I used to read a lot from when I lived, two places I lived. When I lived in Dallas and when I lived in Austin. I'm in a suburb of Austin now, and that's significant because when I lived in those two places, I used my library more because both of those places had huge digital offerings. But I'm in the suburbs of Austin now, and my current library doesn't have anything. It's hard to get just about anything. So I haven't been reading a lot. But the reason I bring that up is I don't remember which novel of his I read because it was on a Kindle, but I do remember that. I think he was an author that Stephen King recommended. And for a long time, I kind of read a lot of things recommended by King. Speaking of King, hey, thanks for enjoying the King reviews. Definitely more of those. Happy New Year. Glad you are here. Oh, excellent. I'm glad that you're enjoying Warlord Chronicles. That's another one. I read that before I had the BookTube channel. So that was another one that was very cool because I mentioned at the outset today that one of the things I enjoyed about BookTube, both as a consumer and as a content creator, is that reading the same things as other people. Like I read Warlord Chronicles. I literally knew 2 people in my entire life that had read that series. So seeing dozens of booktubers read it together and then talk about it was a lot of fun. I haven't started Greenbone yet, but I'm pretty confident that I'll read that next year. I do have the Broken Binding edition, so I want to read those. But it sounds like, even though I've heard it's highly derivative of Mario Puzo's works, it sounds like it's something right up my alley. You know, urban fantasy, crime fiction plus fantasy just sounds great. So those of you who live on the other side of the ocean can only dream of meeting Hob. Alas. Yeah. What's my favorite Middle-earth book besides the big ones? Recently read Children of Huron, and it was a really good read. I think all 3 of the Great Tales are good. Children of Huron is great. The what are the other 2? Fall of Gondolin and I'm mind blanking. Baron and Luthien. I like all 3 of those, but let me give you a wild card pick just because it's fresh in my mind. If you like me, you like seeing an author's craft, Return of the Shadow, which is the 6th book of the history of Middle-earth, is all of Tolkien's rough drafts of the Fellowship of the Ring. Basically the beginning until you get to Rivendell. And it's just fascinating how you see the story change, how you see that basically the plot itself never changes, but the characters change so dramatically throughout the different drafts. If that's not your thing, I would probably say that Children of Huron is probably my favorite as well out of all of those. Yeah, I agree, Ian, and it works because he texted me because I told him first about Farseer, and then like 6 months later, I get a text. He was like, "Hey, I just finished Assassin's Fate." And he just said 9 perfect books. I was like, wait, 9? You skipped 7. All right, very cool. Reading the first book of the Serpent War Saga. Yeah, so there's different orders to read the Feist books, and there's books that are considered optional or not. There's I have a spreadsheet I put together which has like 3 different reading orders. There's the publication order, chronological in-world order, and then actually I have 4 orders. Then there's kind of a hybrid, which is I think on Feist's. All 3 of those are on Feist's site, where it takes both of those things but groups the series together, because sometimes he would publish different series at different times. And then there's one that I found on Reddit, which kind of incorporates chronological into that hybrid model. Anyway, yeah, there's a lot of order to read that. I have read the Riftward Saga. I have read the Empire Trilogy. the Krondor Sons duology, and the Serpent War saga, which is a quartet. Up next, I have one of my viewers, Jeff, if you're watching. Jeff sent me the entire Legends of Rift War series, which is a trio of kind of standalone books set during the Rift War that he co-wrote with other authors. One of them is about Jimmy the Hand, so I'm really excited for that. So there's a lot of different ways to kind of tackle that series, but that's kind of where I am at that point. Yeah, I've heard this about Rift War. A lot of people bounce from it. And I've heard early Feist is the best Feist, but I'm still enjoying it, so I'm going to keep going. I'm gonna read Dark Tower. Start at the beginning. Read some books. Tie in first. Loaded question. I would just read it. Yeah, I wouldn't worry about the tie-ins too much because the main series is 7 books, and that's enough of that's definitely enough of a commitment. If I would add, in fact, I have a video for this. If you want to check out one of my videos that's done pretty well through the years, is a Stephen King reading guide video, and it has reading advice at the end of the video for the Dark Tower. And I usually advise, if you just want to read this, I would do these 7 plus we would read Salem's Lot between books 4 and 5. So either the first 7 or just 8. I wouldn't worry about everything else. Everything else, it's so minimal. It's just me as a rereader. I wanted to read more of those books. So just as a reread, to know the tie-ins after I've seen the main series. So that would be my advice. Either just read the 7 or read the 7 plus read Salem's Lot after book 4. So, man, Scott is rubbing elbows with everybody. Met Fonda Lee same time as Hobb. Super nice. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Honored Enemy. That's the second one in the Legends of the Rift War. I look forward to reading those. And I'm glad I have all my Feists on mass market paperback. So I have some trips planned. So I know those will be some of the books I'll prioritize taking with me. So thank you, Nikhil. Thanks for stopping by. And once again, thank you for inviting Daniel Green onto the collaboration I was part of. So I can say I was on a video with Daniel Green. Feist gets a bit patchy in his later books. Yeah. And congrats on 5 years. Thank you. Thank you. All right, so I am caught up on chat. So back to my top 10. I'm down to my top 3 if you just popped in the last, I don't know, 10 minutes. I'm counting down the 10 things that I've enjoyed most about having a channel for the last 5 years. Some of them are books. Some of them are just part of having a channel. And number 3, did I do number 3? I don't know if I did. Tell me if I did this one or not. I don't know if I crossed it off. Number 3 is Realm of the Elderlings, my favorite book series ever. Did I do that one already? I feel like we've talked about it, but I don't know if I officially called that my number 3. Yeah, Realm of the Elderlings is my favorite book series. And that was as a result of BookTube and seeing so many people talk about it and say all the great things about it. So that was number 3. So we'll just move on because that might be a repeat. Number 2. Something I thought I'd never say is my favorite author is something other than Stephen King, because King's been my favorite author since about the age of 20. And my favorite author is Guy Gavriel Kay. And that's a direct result of being here on BookTube as a consumer mainly, but also just all of the interactions that I've been able to have as a result of a channel and talking more deeply about these books. It's really been gratifying. So Guy Gavriel Kay is number 2 on my top 10 of things that I've loved about having a YouTube channel in the last 5 years. And then my number one is this. It's community. I read a really cool book, Sebastian something. It's been about 10 years. I don't remember. It was called Tribe. And it's about community. It's about belonging and things like that. And for me, that's one of the coolest things about having a channel is being part of this community. And a lot of you don't have channels. You're part of the community too. But it's been really cool having a community kind of around the channel, but also being part of the greater community. You know, I have, just to mention that book Tribe, they talk about how one of the things they talked about when it was in that book was when someone would get kidnapped by Native Americans, how when they would be recovered later, they wouldn't want to go because they found a community that they enjoyed being part of. And there's more to that than just that little 2 sentence thing that I just said. But, sense of belonging, I think, is important for all of us. And I'm lucky I have different tribes in my life. I have musicians and fellow music educators that are like one of my tribes that we get together and we just geek out over music and talk about music and listen to music and all of that. And I love that. Especially when I was a competitive runner, but even so, I still have my running tribe. I have my friends that are runners that are really important to me, and some of the deepest friendships and relationships I've had in my life are a result of kind of that period of my life. So that was a second tribe, and I guess my third tribe is all of the readers that I've met. It's so very cool. Once again, as I mentioned earlier, to read the same things as a lot of you, and sometimes to influence you, but a lot of times, I mean, I always have this going when I'm at these chats because I'm always writing down recommendations that I get as well. And I've probably gotten just as many great recommendations from viewers as I've been able to get, than I've been able to give as a content creator. So my number one of this top 10 of favorite things in the last 5 years is community. And that's probably one of the biggest reasons that I still make videos. I still enjoy the creative process. I still feel that it stimulates me. It has never felt like a chore. So I think as long as those things happen, maybe we'll have a 10-year celebration 5 years from now. It's hard to say. So, yes, GGK. He's the man. Can't wait to read more K. Sarantine Line. Yep. Yeah. He's consistently great. I mean, yeah, he's so good. Story of the figurehead above the door behind you. Oh, up here? That's Beethoven, my favorite composer. And one of my greatest idols, biggest source of inspiration. I mean, imagine that you're the best at something in the world, and then what makes you the best in the world is being taken from you, and you persevere on. I mean, he's the ultimate role model. I mean, he started losing his hearing at age 30 and continued to write music for 27 more years. And his greatest work, arguably, he was stone cold deaf when he wrote his Ninth Symphony. So that's Beethoven. He's a source of inspiration for me. I have another one of these figureheads on my piano in my guest bedroom as well. So JCM Byrne, thank you, sir. Congrats on 5 years. I'll be reading your second book pretty soon, probably in March. I think I have that sketched out. Okay, so we've been here an hour. If any of you have any questions, things we want to talk about in the chat, just throw those in the chat. We'll keep going as long as you guys want to go. The plaque above the door. Okay, so this is actually a cool story. So these are composers, little pictures of composers, and this is kind of it's an odd heirloom, but it's kind of a family heirloom. I do come from kind of a family of musicians. My grandfather was a music educator. He was a band director and I'm a trumpet player by major, and was my major instrument. And he was a trumpet player, and his father was a trumpet player as well. And so this was a plaque that his father put together. And, it's just little cutouts of different composers with their names written below. And it's just, I got it reframed because the original frame was broken, but it's just kind of something that's been passed through the family. I also have one of my old great-grandfather's trumpets. It's kind of a lousy instrument, but it's nice to still have it. I have some of his music books as well. Some of them are bound with his name. Caesar was his first name. That side of the family is Italian. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, that's what that is. And then if you look up here, that's a wand. I think that's a Hermione Granger wand. Little conducting guy there. So yeah, and this wall on this side, that's my running wall. Like all the trophies and stuff from all the years. But yeah. Okay. All right. Any last questions in the chat? Or else I'm going to go and get the day going. Hey, that's pretty cool. chemist precision scale with weights used in grad school before you were born. Very cool. Yeah, I think those little things are pretty neat to have. In fact, pull this way. That right here, that was my first trumpet, cornet actually. My grandfather turned into a lamp when I upgraded to a better instrument, and that's something that's moved with me. You know, there's certain things that are certain things that'll move with you the entire life, and that's one of them for sure. Same, my friend. Appreciate it, Brian. All right. Any last questions, statements? Let me just, if you just got here late, let me just let you know what's going to happen in the channel in the next few weeks. We have next week, I'll be doing my December wrap up, and the 8 books that I read in December. We'll be talking about that. In 2 weeks, I'll be doing one of my 2 2025 wrap up content. So I'll be doing my new favorites as well as some disappointments of things that I read in 2025. I did read 109 books, I think, in 2025. So I'll be talking about kind of the very best and then just a couple that disappointed me. I try to be positive, so it'll only be like 2 or 3 books that disappointed me. And then in 3 weeks, stay tuned. We will have the Red Fury Book Awards, the 5th annual. I'll don the tuxedo, put up the green screen. I have guest presenters for just about every category. I need to consume. I saw a bunch popped up on my phone as we were here. I need to confirm with everybody, but I'm going to have guest presenters for every category, at least one new category in there, and really excited for that. So that's kind of the things that you'll be seeing soon. But other than that, thank you, Scott. Good to see you. Good to see everybody. It's so nice to chat, and thanks for checking out the channel in the last 5 years. And I guess I'll see you in the next one.